Let me tell you a little bit about Camille. Camille is the founder and chief visionary of the Natural Life Business Partnership, a global professional organization for soul-aligned entrepreneurs who live in a higher vibration, have an alternative approach to business, and are here to help repair the world. Oh, isn't that? Do you feel that, ladies? Do you feel that? How amazing. Oh, Camille, we are so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for coming and joining us and for sharing your time, giving your time to us and to these ladies here. I am going to hand over the floor to you and Carolina, and I'm going to let you guys jam out a little bit today, and I will be back later on. Have an absolutely amazing time, ladies.
Thank you, Heidi.
Hello, Camille. Oh my goodness, I am so excited that this is my actually pleasure to interview you and to ask you some questions and to get to know you a little bit more and to share, actually extract the wisdom from you so we can share it with our ladies. So Camila, tell us a little bit more about yourself. And I know that you created the Natural Life Business Partnership. Could you tell us a little bit more what it is, how does it help people, and what do you actually do, and how did you come up with this idea and why?
Okay, that's a lot.
So many questions at once. Like, tell us all. Tell us all.
No, it's awesome. Nope, that's fine. Thank you. And thank you for having me today. Hello, everyone that's here and joining us. And I'm happy to answer questions at the end as well. My name's Camille Miller. They say, and I call myself the pioneer for the soul professional movement. I created the Natural Life Business Partnership about 7 years ago. And my background is I was a not-for-profit strategist. I was a CEO for the state of New Jersey for the Northeast Organic Farming Association. I later became president of the Northeast, which put me in Washington working on our food system, our health system, and our organic label. And it was in that role that for the first time, who I was professionally integrated with who I was personally. And I got to bring my whole self to work, because I felt like I was hiding or putting on this persona of what a professional should be. But then I was going home and, being my hippie self. And I felt like I'm a little older. I'm in my mid 50s. And when I went through school, when I went through business school, the idea of what a professional should be was like what you wear, how you act, if you're proper. There wasn't a lot of women leaders at the table. So I really didn't have a role model. I got an MBA, but we were taught about, being a CEO of Disney or McDonald's. And it was really, really a tough way to go. There was no degree in entrepreneurship at the time. So it was just very different. But I found myself in this not-for-profit world, loving advocacy work, love working for the people. When I got to work in Washington, I realized it had nothing to do with the people. It had to do with making money. So it really kind of changed the way I was as a person. But working in organic farming, I met all of these holistic beings, people who believed in alternative medicine, people who talked about abundance, and this greater world and spirit and universe and allowing and trusting the process. And I was a CEO, I was running a company, right? So to be able to talk like this with Wall Street executives and scientists and CPAs and lawyers and doctors, and I was like, this is amazing. I didn't know that these people existed in the world. But when they went back to their professional lives, they really didn't talk that way, right? I always say we're hiding all over professions everywhere in the world. So that job was defunded in 2015, and I found myself kind of searching for like, what's next? And although I had a lot of offers and I could be a professional fundraiser for universities or hospitals, I knew that money was no longer my motivator. And it had to make my heart sing, because I was in a job that I loved. It was my passion. It was my purpose. It just felt so right and joyful on so many levels. And I had never felt that. So in searching for my next steps, I didn't even know what I was going to do. But searching for my next steps, I was looking for a professional community, and I found like a lot of, networking groups or BNIs or things that existed, but they came from the ego. They came from a place that didn't make me feel good. I felt like I was constantly stabbed with business cards and being sold to, and people didn't really get to know me as a person, right? They didn't know if I was a mother or an author or like what my background was. If I wasn't their perfect sales, if they couldn't sell to me, they weren't interested. And then I went over to holistic groups because there's plenty of those that exist too. And I felt it was way too woo-woo for what I wanted to be associated with. So I kind of haphazardly created this little coffee club telling people of what I wanted to create in the world. And it was kind of fun. I was just like, hey, who wants to hear my story and who wants to create this thing with me? So we started I'm in New Jersey, in the States in New Jersey, and I started a little coffee club and we called it the Natural Life Business Partnership because I was like, why wouldn't an acupuncturist know an herbalist? Like, why wouldn't a farmer know a nutritionist? Why wouldn't, it made no sense to me. I was like, we all have the same audience. So why wouldn't we pull it together? And something I was good at was creating community. So I naturally just started introducing people and talking about business and how can I help, because I love to strategize. And we built really the Natural Life Business Partnership. And I started to design this business around my passion, what I wanted, because I felt that there was a gap in the world between spirituality and business success, right? And I strongly, strongly, strongly believe that it's the inner work that creates our outer success. And unless we're starting to work on ourselves and our own blocks and our own mindset, we will never reach our full financial potential, but we'll never reach our spiritual potential either. And I couldn't find that anywhere else, so I created it. So my little coffee club, we started meeting in New Jersey, and then it was New York, and then it was Pennsylvania, and then it was Delaware, and then it was Connecticut, and then we started growing. And I went through a divorce. I'm a single mom of 3 kids, and I have them full time. And at the time, they were just in high school, so I had to be home, right? And I was traveling all the time. Thankfully, they could take care of themselves, but in the end of 2017, I got a call from California and said, oh my God, I can't wait for you to get out here. I've heard about you. And I knew in that moment that my business was not scalable. I was like, this is not going to work. So in kind of trying to figure out what the next thing was, how I was going to scale this, I heard of this thing called Zoom. And I looked into it and I was like, you know what? I really feel that businesses in the future are going to go global, and we need to understand how to do this. And maybe I can teach people this other side, if there's coaches and consultants and all these things, to have virtual businesses. So in January of 2018, we launched as a completely virtual networking and business organization. And the idea was just to go national, because it never occurred to me that we would be who we are today. And I was just like, hey, if I can help people across the world. Then we started this little thing called Coffee with Camille, because it used to be a coffee club. And I'm like, come here, I'm going to teach you how to do all this stuff. And we have these business discussions. We still have Coffee with Camille today. And then I started to record them. Who knew that this would create a learning library with hundreds and hundreds of hours of how to run a business? But I really, really felt, I am an intuitive, and I really, really felt with all of my body that this was what I was supposed to do, but I had no idea what I was doing or why I was doing it. I just knew that the world needed it. And that's really all I knew. And I moved forward. So in 2018, we went to the virtual model. In 2019, we went international, which was kind of shocking for me. But what happened was I studied under Bruce Lipton, and I do this modality called Psyche, and I helped with subconscious beliefs with entrepreneurs, and it brought all of these international clients in that joined the community too. And then in the beginning of 2020, I decided to go for a high-end model, because when people invested in themselves, I think that they gave more to the world, right? They invested in themselves and they wanted to help others It wasn't a take environment. I felt like the mindset was a little bit different when they invested. So I went towards a high-end model on purpose. And 30 days later, we were in a global pandemic. And wouldn't you know it, since we had a virtual business, we didn't have to pivot. We didn't have to change. People were watching us from all over the world, and we started to grow, and we had this global model. And we've really built ourselves in 20, and I started a podcast telling people stories because I felt so many people wanted to close their business and they were going into scarcity mode. And I was like, how do I stop this? How do I get people to stay very grounded, to earn what they deserve, to really, learn and come together? So I started a podcast called 6 Figure Souls, doing good and making money, and just talking about the spirit of entrepreneurship and how when you align yourself with who you are and your lifestyle, you really do build wealth. You really can impact the world. And that's really the only way you're doing it. Right. So, the podcast led to summits and all of this other stuff. Now I'm on stage. So it's kind of very organic, but what I kept doing was listening and asking the community, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? I self-funded this entire journey because I wanted something to leave my legacy in the world. And that's what it's really become. My legacy is to teach people that they can have a soul-aligned business. They can wake up every morning loving what they do, and they can build wealth doing it. I don't care what you do, because I don't think there's any competition in the world, because we're our own differentiator, right? We do who we are. There's a bunch of people that go to medical school. They all come out with the same degree, right? They all could even come out with the same teachers, the same specialty. They are not all the same doctors, right? It's the exact same thing for every single one of us. So we built this community that has no competition in it. It's really just about giving and serving others. And in 2021, I took this step because it was my own mindset of playing small, because I was like, we're just going to be this little cute little boutique thing, and we don't have to tell anyone. And what happened was I decided to play big. Actually, I should back up. Someone came to me and said, oh my God, you have like the best idea here. Like, you're making something that isn't in the world. And I was like, yeah, I know. I get it. Don't tell too many people. I don't want to look weird. And it was really a branding expert that said, we got to get this out here. So we actually totally rebranded into, because I had made my own website. I was doing it all by hand. I hadn't scaled yet, right? So I couldn't teach scaling. I didn't scale yet. So we launched in 2020. That was the end of 2020. So we launched in 2020. I trademarked the word soul professional and started what I call the soul professional movement, which is really a movement of honoring our authenticity, honoring who we are, honoring to say, I'm a professional and I dress the way I want and I do what I want. And I call it doing business differently. We do business differently. And that's it. I don't have to play by your rules. I'm playing by my rules because it feels good, and I'm building wealth this way. So the whole organization is built like that. And my vision for the organization, it's something I want to leave in the world. I tried hard to step out of the role of the face of the company, but I learned that was a big mistake. I stepped out too soon. And as you grow in this organization, you mentor all the people behind you. So if you're building $1 million company, you're mentoring the people that are building $500,000 brands. If you're building $500,000, you're mentoring the people that want to build 100,000. If you're building 100,000, you're mentoring the people that are at 50. If you're at 50, you're mentoring the people that are walking in. So it's all about giving back, because I really, truly believe you cannot grow. You cannot be big or be something without helping others. And the whole organization is built on that. And it's my vision to really have someone say, hey, I'm a soul professional, and someone halfway across the world to go, yeah, me too. So you already know that you have these same core values, these same things in the world. And I want to be a professional organization that's up there with the American Medical Association, that's up there with the Bar Association, or any trade association that holds its members to a higher value. So it also brings you professional credibility to say, this is what I'm a part of because I believe in this. So that's what I'm creating. That's a long way of saying what I'm creating. Why I created it is because I couldn't find it. And I still create in the community when people say, hey, I don't have this. You know, I'll like I love what I call soul curiosity. So we created a little we call micro communities of people looking to deepen their spirituality, right? We have mindset mastery, but we also have what we call woo and wealth, you know, for people that have to understand business finance. And there could be more than one bottom line if your purpose is over profit, you know, and how to do that. So, and then the inner circle is, you know, people that are building $1 million brands. Because I needed it. I needed mentorship. So I just created it. So honestly, I'm just building what I need in the world and hoping others follow.
Oh my goodness, what a journey. I absolutely love it. Thank you for sharing all of that. And you are totally speaking my language, like soulpreneur, like soulpreneurs. Yeah. Like being aligned with our purpose. And I know that you are really big on like to be passionate about your purpose and about lead from your soul. So I know that some people might be completely new to those concepts and ideas, right? Could you go a little bit deeper what it means to you and what actually how people can start leading from their soul?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is really, really super, super easy. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. There you go. That's it. That's the magic. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. If you don't like doing social media, don't do it. If you hate doing videos, don't do it. I cannot stand writing. I don't do it. Right? I love sitting on stage. I do more of that because that's how you're going to attract people. Right? And it's really about attracting people and not being attached to the outcome. That's the key. Also, right? Don't be attached to the outcome. Don't think every single time you're on stage or writing your blog or whatever you're doing, even meeting someone, right? And people network all wrong. You can come to our networking. We do it way differently. We pull soul cards, and we don't talk about business because who you are as a human is more important. That's how you attract. It's about attracting. So I totally lost what even this question was, but your purpose. It's really about what you love. And I always said, and I really got this from my dad, who said, when you decide to go to work, he always told me, first of all, work for yourself because there's no limit to what you can make. But love what you do every single day, that if you won the lottery and had all the money in the world, you would still get up and do it. And that's finding your purpose or your passion, right? I would still do this. If I could do more of it, I would, right? And it's really, I'm not attached to the money because I know that whoever's attracted to me is going to come, right? And if I'm not attracting it, I have to kind of look in the mirror and say, what are you blocking that's not attracting it, right? So you can have anything you want if you believe that you're deserving of it. But your purpose and your passion is something that lights you up. I have 3 creative kids and they are all over the place with what they're doing in the world, but I keep saying, great. Like I have one that left film school. Actually, we originally thought she was going to medical school. She shocked the shit out of all of us, but I couldn't say no. I was like, if that's what your heart is telling you to do, you go do that. And then halfway through during the pandemic, she said, you know what? And she has, because if you look, if you look, you've always been doing your passion. You just don't see it as a job. But if you think about it, you've always been doing it. And when she told me she was going to film school, I was like, oh my God, that kid stole my camera my whole life and made films. And I never saw it. Right. And then when she was in film school, she's like, it doesn't make me feel good the way they're teaching it. This is not the way I want to do film. And I'm like, okay. And during the pandemic, she said, you know what? I think I'm going to go into costume design. And she loved history. She ended up she's graduating on Sunday, and she's always made her clothes her whole life. And she ended up, she's graduating with a specialty in historic costume design. And she's been asked to do jobs like all over the place. And there were so many people like, how can you send your kid to school to study these ridiculous things? And I'm like, who are you to say who she is, right? If she wanted to go to film school, she could end up Steven Spielberg. Like, why would you limit a belief system of somebody, right? So all of my kids do crazy things. And I encourage it, by the way. I encourage it because you don't know who you're going to meet. I was talking to someone the other day, and just in a one-on-one, which we do so much of. And they were saying, I said, oh, I have a kid. She's graduating historic costume design. We don't know where she's going to end up in life, what country she's going to end up in, because my kids kind of want to leave too. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, this is really interesting. You know, I have someone that I can introduce you to that's opening up a museum in Times Square of historic costumes on Broadway. Would you like the interview? I'm like, yes, I would like that connection. Thank you very much. Right. And last week she was home, and I live outside of New York City, and she was hired by Macy's to do the costuming for the parade. I was like, holy crap. And it's really about who you know, right? Because she never closed her mind to what she can do. And I keep telling, I have another kid that's going off to London. The only thing I said is you have to come back and finish your senior year, because I know in her head, she thinks she's staying there. Like, you are not staying there. You could go back in 9 months, but you're not staying there. You're not dropping out of school. And if you looked at my path in life and all of the jobs and degrees I have, right? They're not linear in any way. They're all over the place. And people are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. But if I have a passion, I change my mind every 2 years. And I've done this since my 20s. I say, I move up or I move out every 2 years. Now that I'm older, it's a little different. But when I was in my 20s, and I tell my kids the same thing, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just go get another job. Just keep moving, because you will line up with what feels good if you keep moving towards what feels good, right? If you stop and say, I can't do that, or that's less money, or, my family and friends say, family and friends are not your coaches. Family and friends have no idea, right? And most of the people in the world will keep you back. So always look for community and people that are giving you advice and holding you and supporting you in a safe space, but are where you want to be. If they are not where you want to be, you need to find that crowd that needs, it took a long time. And if you don't mind, I'll share a conversation I had. I'm a talker. Once you ask me a question, I'm a talker. That's why I asked you to ask me questions. I was talking to someone who is he graduated from Harvard. He went to Columbia Business School and Columbia Law School. And I was talking to him the other day, and he is a financier of startups. And I was talking to him the other day to be on his podcast. And I was saying, we're growing so fast. I was like, people think that money cures it all. And it doesn't. By the way, it's like new level, new devil. Like, you have the same problems you had when you were starting a business, but oh my God, is it bigger? Like, my payroll, like, if I can't make it, I'm like, oh my God. Right? It's so much larger. And I was telling him about this, and I was like, I feel like I'm starting all over again. I was like, and sometimes I'm really scared. And he goes, awesome. He goes, I'm assuming it's a cash flow problem because you're growing too fast. And I was like, it is a cash flow problem. He's like, that's awesome. He's like, that is showing that you got this. And I'm like, wow, what a great way to turn that around. I'm sitting there going, how am I paying everyone? Right. And he's like, oh my God, you are so on the right track. That is like the best place to be. Right? You're growing faster than your cash can keep up with it. And that's only for a short time until you get there. There's a tipping point. Keeping yourself through that tipping point is scary as all hell. And I was like, wow. And I needed that validation. But that's the part of lining yourself up with the community, right? He's a multi-millionaire, did startups, big ones, names that you've heard of. And I needed that because I didn't know, right? I'm thinking, oh my God, am I failing? And he's thinking, oh my God, this is right before it takes off. This is it. And I had no idea. Right. And that's why hanging around people that are where you want to be is so important, to make sure that you're having those bigger conversations.
I love that.
That even answered your question.
Yes, definitely. And even more. So So I absolutely love it. And I love what you said, like if you don't if it doesn't feel good, don't do it, and then move up or move out. You always have to moving, always
Moving. Momentum, even at the smallest little bit, right? If you just make a call in the morning, do that, right? If everything moves, like the smallest amount of momentum is large over a period of time. Just keep moving in the direction.
So let me ask you, what would be the 2 tips that you could give to women who are listening us today?
For starting a business that's soul aligned?
So, yes, exactly.
The number 1 is to stay in your lane of joy.
Joy.
Right? Always stay in your lane of joy. And the second one would be hang with people that are where you want to be. Have those bigger conversations, like those are the people. If I can have a third one, I would say don't be attached to the outcome. Because if you do those first 2 things, the outcome will absolutely happen. But you have to do those first 2 things and then detach yourself from the outcome, because it'll happen.
Yes, because if you are growing, then everything is growing, after you. We go first. And just like you said before, you are growing faster than your cash flow. The cash flow will follow, will grow.
Follow.
But if you are not growing, then the cash flow cannot grow by itself. So
exactly.
I love it. I love it. So I would like to also ask you about your ups and downs of your journey. How did you navigate your ups and downs in your soul-aligned business?
Yeah. So I'm still navigating. And I share that with you. I am still navigating, right? The whole cash flow thing was like after Black Friday's weekend, and I was like, oh my God. Right. But I think it's really just to lean into them, right? I am now super aware of my energy. And I can sometimes look back and go, I thought I was all in that moment. And now from this higher perspective, I really wasn't all in. I wasn't working that hard. I wasn't putting in the hours, like little things like that. And I'm not saying that effort always equals, your outcome. But for me, I've changed some of the things because I've noticed mistakes that I've made, and always improving, I think, is the most important thing, right? But we all have ups and downs. And when you're down, step away. Just step away from it. If you're having a bad day, things aren't going right, don't focus on that. Think about, hey, what did I learn from this situation? Or, hey, I get to fix this. I get to prove to myself that I can do better. Right. So it's really looking for the good, but as an entrepreneur, I don't care what level you are at, there are ups and downs, and sometimes they are dramatic, very, very dramatic, but don't get caught in that present moment of doubt or fear or scarcity or, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Especially as women, we automatically go there like, oh, I knew I couldn't do it. Or I'm just not smart enough, or I'm not good with numbers, or whatever that is for you, but catch yourself doing it. One of the greatest things I learned, and literally only learned it months ago, what I have body image problems. And I've had this because I grew up in a family that had very particular expectations of what the women should look like. And I've grown to this place to realize I'm better than that, but I still, it creeps up, right? It's kind of the same thing. It creeps up all the time. And I was out actually at an event in Colorado, and I ended up staying with a girlfriend. And she's like, how you talk to yourself in the mirror every morning changes the way you look. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, get out of here. I was like, I am aging so badly, and I can't believe how awful I feel. Like, and just going on this whole thing. And this was 2 months ago. And she's like, stop. Do you hear what you're saying? She's like, this is what I want you to do. I want you to look in the mirror every day and say, oh my God, you're aging so amazing. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Holy God, are you rocking that body? Right. And like this, and I've been doing that every single day, and it's been 2 months, and I literally feel different. And I've lost 8 pounds, right? Without changing anything but how I talk to myself. How I talk to myself. And sometimes I sit there and go, and I'm realizing it in all aspects. So this is also as an entrepreneur, as a woman entrepreneur, you are probably self-talking in not great ways, right? And even though I do all this spiritual work and all this alignment, and I talk to all the gurus and I'm on these big stages, I catch myself not talking to myself correctly. And I have to say, where am I failing myself? Right. And sometimes it creeps in, right? So I know I have the body thing. But even in like my dating life, like, and I'm like, oh, if I was just a little bit thinner, I looked a little bit hotter in that dress. And I'm like, what the crap? I am 55 years old. This is what you get. Like, it's a totally different mindset for me. Like, if you don't like me like this, me losing 10 pounds ain't going to make any difference because I'm just going to gain it back. Like, stop. Right. And it's really just like this. I'm all in. I'm going with my girlfriend to Mexico on Saturday. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to put on a bathing suit. It's December. And I like literally had a shift this morning. I'm like, you know what? I don't give a crap. This is who I am. And it's December where I am. It's snowing at home. Right. So I'm lucky to be in Mexico, and I am lucky to be hanging out with my girlfriend and being able to do this, right? And to bring my laptop along with me and work in the morning and hang at the beach at night. Like, I am lucky that I get to do this. And it's not like I'm not lucky because this is the body I have to go in, like it's this whole different thing. And the same girlfriend talked to me the other day, and I was talking about giving up on dating, but not giving up. I was like, you know what? He's just going to find me. I ain't looking anymore. There's no hunt going on here, because hunt is from a place of lack, and I am not hunting. Same thing when you're prospecting, by the way, for clients. Hunting is from a place of lack, and I am not hunting. She goes, then how are you ever going to meet someone? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe he's going to sit next to me on that plane to Mexico. I'm like, what? And she's like, oh, that was good. Right? Because it's that mind shift change in how you talk to yourself that makes all the impact in the world. So I know this was about ups and downs, but it's about when you're down, what are you saying to yourself? That's what you have to think about. What am I saying to myself to make me feel this way? And recognizing, I always tell people keep gratitude journals all the time. I always say, acknowledge what you received every day, right? Receiving is totally different than being grateful. Acknowledge what you are receiving, right? I received today. I get to be on this summit, right? I received these women listening to me. I received, and you just go on and go on and go on, right? It's a totally different thing when you see all the goodness and all the opportunities that are going your way, and just to focus on that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, receiving is actually our natural state. We receive everything. Air,
especially for a woman.
Yes, food, we receive everything, right? But sometimes we just don't know how to allow ourselves to receive. So this is really, really crucial. And I see a lot of women actually typing in the chat, like, self-talk impacts so much. Yes, self-talk is important. Self-talk is essential. So I absolutely love it. And I would love to ask you, ladies, how are you actually talking to yourself?
Yeah.
In the mirror. What is your self-talk? And what are you committing to right now? Type in the chat. How are you going to talk to yourself from this moment forward? Because this can be very shifting and very pivotal moment for all of us when we actually become aware of our self-talk, especially when we are down, especially that the business is not the straight line. It's like roller coaster, right?
Oh my God.
Exactly. So I would like to ask you also, Camille, what is one or maybe two beliefs that you have about yourself right now?
My good ones? We're talking about self-talk, like these new ones that I am instilling in myself. So one that I've been working, I have imposter syndrome that creeps up, and I don't know if it's a sticky floor or a glass ceiling, but I get caught in it all the time as I grow. So really noticing that up front and being very honest about it. And now I'm talking about it, so other people notice it in me as well. I don't care what level you're at, it shows up. And working on the I am worthy, I am deserving, and it is okay. And it took Oprah Winfrey to let me know that. She is my idol. And she is the woman that they always say, hey, if you can sit on a bench with anyone in the world dead or alive, mine's Oprah. Mine's Oprah, because she has changed my life. But one of the things, I was listening to one of her speeches or talks, I listened to all of them. And I don't know what clicked for me, but I realized that I was coming from a place of, if I'm really in service to people and I'm really doing this, how can I make money? Right? It was my own building list. So how can I teach other people to build wealth when I had my own block? Right? And I was like, oh my God, I've learned from Oprah my entire life, and that woman's a billionaire. Right? It was that aha moment of, why can't I just be like Oprah? And as soon as I shifted my thinking of like, Oprah's my idol, I want to be like Oprah. Oprah's a billionaire. That's what I have to become now. Right. So it was that shift of, I am worthy, I am deserving, and I can help and still make money. So it was really that shift. So those are things that I work on all the time. That and the whole aging and beauty thing. Those are two shifts that I've made of how I perceive myself.
Absolutely love it. And that is actually a very big shift for me as well, because I realized that I am statement is actually manifestation. Everything that comes after I am, it comes to fruition. It happens in your life, in your reality. If you say to yourself in the mirror, I am fat, I am ugly, I am aging badly,
it happens.
It happens. It's
amazing. Yeah. The universe listens to every single thing you ask for. Exactly. Every single thing it listens.
Exactly.
So just look every morning, I am ready for success now. It'll show up.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Ladies, if you have any questions to Camille, please type them in the chat, and we will ask them. And I would love to also know, Camille, what do you offer right now in your world? How women can find you? What they can get out of you, let's say, right?
Yeah. So if you are someone in the soul-aligned world and any of this resonated with you, if you're starting out, if you haven't hit whatever milestone that is for you, for the people here that are listening to this, I would open myself up to have a one-on-one chat and strategy call with you. I don't do that a lot, but I'm happy to do it. And you can reach me at soulprofessional.com/strategy. And that is how you get to me. But if you also go to soulprofessional.com, you can join any of our networking, and we have tons of free events and things to do, because I want to help you know the people in the world that are building great things. So that's how you find me and be a part of our world. And if you're building a great thing, I want to know about it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And all the links, ladies, will be posted in the group, so you will be able to find them. And also you can find, like I said before, you can find all the speakers in the group as well. So connect with them, connect with us. We don't bite. We are normal people. We do normal things, right? So just connect with us. And Camille, also question for you. One more question. What's the impact that you want to make in the world?
I want to make sure that whatever all of you are creating in the world builds wealth and impacts the world. So I'm hoping my job is to bring your gifts to the world. That's the impact that I want to. And of course, I want to leave the legacy of being a soul professional, because I think when we start to identify that way, it'll change who we are, because it's mindset, right? It's self-talk. I'm still a professional, and I just happen to be really soulful too. And it's okay. And I would love to see 1 million of those.
Yes. All of us coming and growing together. Right. We have Salvia. I feel like Christmas is now listening to the summit, right? Isn't it? So many golden nuggets, so many gifts. I love it. Any questions, ladies? You can ask. Camila is here.
Oh, if you have any, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Whatever you want. She will answer any of your questions. Yes, let's see. Powerful and would love a one-on-one. I'm starting out. I would be happy with women of courage. Love it. Type your questions in the chat. Yes, type your questions in the chat. And Camila, so if I have you here for a little moment still, I also would love to know, like, one tip right now for all the women who are listening. Right now, one thing that you take from here, implement, and you will be successful. no matter what.
Yeah. Well, one, follow your joy, right? Always follow your joy. That I think that's the most important. Follow your joy. Don't listen to people that says you can't do it. You know, I say stay in your lane of joy. That is my thing. Stay in your lane of joy. Because you can do it. And if you think you can't, that's you telling you that. That's not universe telling you that. That's what you're putting out in the universe, and then you won't do it. Just
Simple
believe. Yeah, you have to believe in yourself. You have to stick around with people that also believe in you. And you do have to put in the work. So when I say, you know, like, kind of sit back and how this will flow to you, you actually have to put in the work. You can't have flow without action steps. A lot of people are like, it'll just come to me. It takes a little bit.
It takes action. Definitely.
It takes action. Yeah.
It takes action. Definitely.
Yeah. But to definitely follow your dreams, believe in yourself, hang around people that believe in you as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Camille, for being here, for joining us, for sharing your wisdom and your nuggets with us. And I'm just like feeling like a Christmas, exactly like Salvia said, like a Christmas, like goosebumps all around, chills. And yes, ladies, let's give it up for Camille.